Hello everyone, this is Terri and welcome to my channel. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing and liking this video. So, for this video, we will talk about preparations for your flight to the Philippines. So, what do you need to prepare before your flight to the Philippines? Okay, so I made a video similar to this 3 months ago. So this video will be an update for that, since many have changed since the last 3 months. So without further ado, let's start. So you want to enter the Philippines. The first question, before you buy your ticket, you should first know that the Philippines has a travel ban, an inbound travel ban currently. So you have to know, am I allowed to enter the Philippines? Now, if you're a Filipino citizen with a Filipino passport, you don't have to worry. You're allowed to enter the Philippines anytime. Now, if you are a dual citizen, you may want to think about, if you have a Filipino passport, then no need to worry. Just bring your Filipino passport. Now, if you don't have your Filipino passport, you should have your certificate of retention of your Filipino citizenship. You need that in order to enter the Philippines. But it's always best to have the Filipino passport. That's just my opinion. And if you are a foreigner, well, foreigners are not allowed to enter the Philippines in the moment, but there are some foreigners who are allowed to enter the Philippines. So who are they? Now, immediate families of Filipinos, holders of certain long-term visa, I'll show you in the screen who are allowed. I keep on mentioning this just to remind everyone. And also recently, investor visas. And if you are a holder of a retiree's visa, you can also apply for an exemption, I believe. And that's it. So if you know that you're allowed to enter the Philippines, continue watching. For foreign nationals traveling to the Philippines, watch this video to know the requirements for your flight. Now, some countries also have outbound travel bans, so you need to check if you are allowed to exit the country of your origin. So this is only for those who hold permanent residence and dual citizenships or foreign citizenship. So if you're a foreigner or a dual citizen, you need to check the country where you are in right now, if allowed ka ba, or if you are allowed to leave the country. There are countries like Australia, they have an outbound and inbound travel ban, so their citizens can't leave the country. So just check your country of origin. Now, that's out of the way. That's the immigration stuff. Next thing we have is check the requirements of your airlines, because some airlines require pre-flight testing, like United Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, and JetBlue Airways. They require pre-flight COVID testing. And I know in Saudi Arabia that some airlines also they require COVID testing before you can board your plane. They have pre-flight testing. Luckily in the Philippines, having a negative COVID test is not a requirement for entry, because everyone will be tested in the Philippines when they arrive. Okay, so if you are a Philippine Airlines or a Cebu Pacific passenger bound to the Philippines, those airlines, they don't require PCR tests, so you're good. So speaking of speaking of test, our next step is pre-register for your SWAB test in the Philippines. So I think a lot of people already know this. So if you are an OFW, you need to register for the Red Cross ECIF, as they are already back. They're already testing OFWs again. They just started last, I think, October 29. A few weeks ago it was stopped, but then they came back. So anyway, that's not your concern because you're not an OFW. This is for non-OFW. So if you are non-OFW and you are a passenger of the Philippine Airlines, Well, the Philippine Airlines have their own link to register for the case investigation form to get your QR code. So I'll put the link down below for that. Anyway, if you are a Philippine Airlines passenger, you should receive the link to register for the swab test along with your ticket. But regardless, let's go and I'll show you how to register for the Philippine Airlines case investigation form or swab test. So let's go to the Facebook page of Philippine Airlines on their October 29 post. Okay, so this was their post for their November flight schedule. So let's just scroll down, and here, special reminders for all our passengers. So see, if you're an OFW, you need to register for the Red Cross. But if you're a non-OFW, like you're a returning overseas Filipino or a foreign national, and you are a passenger of the Philippine Airlines, you need to click this link. Then you will be redirected for the pre-registration for the swab test. So you have to register for this at least 3 days before your flight. And then here you just have to answer the questions. It's pretty straightforward. So let's say no. Then you have to fill in your last name, your first name, email address, your departure date, and your exit. It's pretty straightforward. And then you will receive an email confirming that you have already registered. You need to receive the email because it's a two-way process. If you are a non-OFW who is not a passenger of the Philippine Airlines, this is where you need to register for your swab test. Pre-registration can be done here at the Philippine Airport Diagnostic Laboratory System. Or here is their link. I'll put it down below on the description box. So it's padlab.ph/DLS/passenger CIF. So it's basically just the same. You need to give your passport number, your passenger barcode, your type of test, the passport image. You need to upload a picture of your bio page of your passport, and then your nationality, civil status. They will also ask for your Philippine residence, your employment, travel history, exposure history, clinical information, and then preview. After this, you will receive the email. So that's the registration process. Now, if you have not pre-registered before your flight, don't worry, because registration can also be done at the airport when you arrive in the Philippines. But just expect that your process will take a lot or a bit longer than those who have already registered. So remember also that even though you have already tested prior to your flight to the Philippines, let's say you had a pre-flight testing, you have a test like 24 hours before you arrive to the Philippines, that doesn't count. You still have to test again. Everyone who will arrive in the Philippines will have to test and quarantine. That there's no exception. Now let's continue. Now the fourth requirement that you have is you need to ensure that you have a confirmed booking at a hotel accredited by the tourism and health agencies while waiting for your COVID-19 test results. Now, this requirement is especially important for foreigners. If you're a foreigner, you need to pre-book your hotel quarantine. Now, if you're a Filipino citizen, you can choose to pre-book or not. You can do your booking at the airport. In NAIA, there is a reservation booth where you can pick for the hotel for your quarantine. Now, if you want to know the affordable quarantines available, I made a video for that. This one, you can check that out in my channel. Now, let's continue. After that, so for your hotel quarantine, you need to book for at least 2 days. That's their suggestion. For 2 days, you have to book for your quarantine hotel. Now, you must stay at your booked hotel until the test result is sent to you via text and email. Now, you should also know that the maximum number of people allowed in one quarantine room is 2 people. Now, that 2 people has to be related or must be traveling together, like spouses or families. If you're strangers, you can stay together. Now, at the airport, you can, the transfer from the airport to your hotel quarantine, you can avail the service of hotel transfers. So your chosen hotel might offer hotel transfer, and so they can pick you up at the airport and take you to the hotel. Or there are also shuttles or vans, metered taxis, and coupon taxis available at the airport. Okay, now what else? You need to bring sanitizers, face shields, and face masks. Because in the Philippines, wearing a face shield and face mask is mandatory. You need to wear a face shield and face mask. Now, another thing, the most important thing, next to your passport, you need to bring money because you need to pay for your SWAB test. Now, the SWAB test starts from 4,500 if you are willing to wait for, I think, 1 to 2 days, and then 7,000 if you want it in 1 day, and 10,000 if you want it in, I think, within 12 hours. So the more money, the less quarantine you have to do, basically. And don't worry, because in the Philippines, there are money exchange booths open. And for your swab test, you can pay by credit card if you want to. And they also accept US dollars. So, government rules in the Philippines keep changing all the time. So I would suggest that you have to do your own research. So I would say follow CNN, ABCBN, GMA News on YouTube. They give updates on YouTube, so you can watch their news and see the latest travel updates. Because travel rules in the Philippines change from any second. Now, another thing is you have to prepare for yourself. Don't be sick, because if you get sick, airlines have the authority, or they can choose not to let you board the airplane. So don't get sick. And if you are sick, you might be put into a stringent quarantine. That's like a classification in the Philippines. If you have symptoms or exposures, you could put in a different quarantine, like a stringent quarantine, they call it. And so, yeah, take care of yourself. Take vitamins. Don't be sick. Don't travel if you're sick. Now, another thing, I think the smart thing to have before you travel to the Philippines is to have insurance. I think having insurance is very important, especially if you're a foreigner who is only visiting in the Philippines, because we don't know what can happen. So having a health insurance, so it means that you have assurance if ever you get sick in the Philippines, especially if you catch the COVID-19, it can cost a lot of money. I heard some people even spent almost 100,000 pesos because they got the COVID. It's pretty expensive. And last thing I think you should have is to have patience, because we're all suffering in this pandemic. We all have to adjust, and this is the new normal. So yeah, we have to be patient and follow the rules of the government. That's all we can do. Now, to summarize everything I said, first is, to prepare for your travel, check the requirements, the immigration rules of your country of origin, and check if you're allowed to enter the Philippines. Next is you check the requirements of your airline, as some airlines require pre-flight testing. Number 3 is pre-register for your swab test. So if you are a PAL passenger or Philippine Airline passenger, there's a link for that. I'll put it in the description box. Now, if you are a non-OFW, you should coordinate with your airline. Nevertheless, you can also register for PAD Lab. and I will also put the link in the description box. And then number 4 is confirmed booking at a hotel. So if you're a foreigner, you need that. You need to pre-book your quarantine hotel. So for the list of quarantine hotels accredited by the Department of Health, I will put the link down below as well in the description box. If you're a Filipino, you can choose to pre-book, or you can book at the airport when you arrive. It's your choice. And again, yeah, we bring face shield, bring face mask. If you want, you can bring gloves, sanitizers, and bring a pen, because you don't want to share pens with strangers who might have COVID. Bring your pen, because you'll be filling out lots of forms. You can even bring some snacks, because sometimes the process could take a long time. It's always handy to have some food with you. And you could also bring your battery bank. If your phone doesn't have a long battery life, or you have a long travel, bring your battery bank, because you need your phone for your QR code and for your email. Yeah. And to communicate, right? And what else? You need to prepare yourself, and don't be sick, be healthy. And last, have patience. So this is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any question, put them down below and I'll try my best to answer it. I hope you got something. And if you got something, like this video and subscribe to my channel. I will see you again next time. Bye!